Well, it's been a while since I've made a video. I've had a lot of things going on, and well, now that all that has passed, I decided to give you a nice little special treat. I got two songs to break down for you tonight. They're already posted in my SoundCloud. The link will be in the description. First, we're going to start off with one of my favorite triumphs, the credit roll for Drakkhen. Now, I've done it before, but it basically was just a rip to see how it would sound. I decided that it was time for me to get myself a more cleaner sound to it. Oh, I know this is a mess. Just there you go. Now you don't have to look at it. As I was saying, um, I wanted it to be cleaner, so I started to take the time to figure out why it looked so messy, why I couldn't align it right, why was everything not looking good. So I started, of course, counting the beats as it played, and I realized that for every 8 measures that crossed, about 13 measures passed. So it was a timing issue. I needed to compress it down to an appropriate measure, and on top of that, put it into a proper beat. So I figured out that the credits roll was a 4/4 song that was going 80 beats per minute. Um, Instead of mixing it all together, the piano is going to be in two different parts, which the main hand is going to be on the top right here, which you can see. There you go. And the secondary hand, your bass hand, as I like to call it, will be down on this line right here. I did that because when you look at the how this was set up, this used to be in multiple channels. So the easiest way to configure these things is to put in a separate channel, line them up, and then move them appropriately. I color coded them so I knew what came next. It made it a lot. It made it a lot easier to build. I have to admit, one of the biggest sins that I was doing was the difference between piano bass 3 and bass. I actually were getting them backwards for a while. Didn't realize I was doing that. That it would. Before I decided to go to final production, I was thinking to myself, well, you know what? The bass would sound better with this, and the piano should sound better with that. So I'll switch it around. And after listening to the SBC a couple of times, it turns out that's the way it should have been to begin with. It also gave me the ability to put in the drum set, which I could not do that if I went straight MIDI rip. It's a pretty basic setup. Most Drakkhen songs are. All I had to do was figure out all the way up to here, and then the finale, which, excuse me, the only thing that I've had a problem with was the final part right here. It would stop here. I had to figure out these last two notes by myself. I can't say it's 100% accurate, but it sounds good, and that's the important part. It gets the end of the song across, and that's supposed to be where the end glistens out, and it sounds like it does. So that's basically how this got set up, and I wanted to do the other song along with this because it amazed me. It made me happy. The first thing I found out was as I was going through it is that I could not get anything to match up. Well, I started with the runs first. I discovered that it worked better in triplets, but that wasn't working pretty good on 4/4 time. So that's when I found out this was a 6/8 at 80 beats per minute. So as you can hear, it has a nice smooth beat to it. I let it keep its long notes so it has a nice reverberating effect. And it comes out pretty good. Uh, Doing the main part wasn't that hard after the runs were made, because all they had to do was match it up to that. The bass was extremely easy. And happily, the drums, this is this is the reward I get for figuring out that it was in 6/8. I can make an appropriate drum set because the original song didn't have drums. It's something I added in myself. So I let it run a couple of times, kind of varied things around, keeping the original, of course, and then finding a way to end it, which it has its own good end. I just let it go. And it came out to a nice, let's see, how long did I go? I think it repeats a couple of times. Yeah, about almost 5 whole minutes, which is a nice slow ballad. You can probably go to sleep to it if that's your kind of thing. Well, it's enough of me talking right now. Let me go ahead and shine you over to how they sound like complete. Once again, if you if you want the songs, you like them, you can go to the description below, download them, like them, put a comment on them, put in a request. We're still doing that, even though I'm about to move to another town. When I get there, I should be able to take requests at a slow pace, but it's doable. Due to a recent loss of data, we kind of lost our logo. If you're interested in trying to help us make a brand new logo for our videos, just give us an email and we'll see about getting something going.